Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important topic related to ngModelGroup for template-driven form. That is, why do we need ngModelGroup? Prior to this session, we talked what is ngModelGroup. We discussed the definition and all the required pointers to understand what is ngModelGroup. But now it's time to understand why do we need ngModelGroup, because we know what is ngModelGroup, but it's time to let's figure out all those pointers that will help us to answer the question why do we need the ngModelGroup. So by the end of this session you will be able to understand all the logical thing that will help you to understand why it is necessary, why we should opt for ngModelGroup while designing the complex and long forms. Okay. But before we proceed further with this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to use we are focusing on why do we need ngModelGroup, right? But prior to that, we should know what is ngModelGroup, what is template driven form, how to create the form, and other basic stuff. And for that thing, you can also refer the Sharmit digital course book, which is freely available in the description box. There you will find more than 3000 plus free resources, which is available in both Hindi as well as English language. So as per your convenience, you can go through it and you can explore the content. Okay. Alright, so let's get started. Here you can see, firstly I have noted down the main heading, that is Angular course by Sharmit. Then we have second heading that shows template driven form in Angular. Why do we need ngModelGroup? Now I'm assuming that most of you are preparing for the interviews and job preparation and for the examination. So just to make the things easier for you, I have noted down everything as a notes. And here I have included only those pointers that is really important to understand. I'm not adding any extra information theoretically, because that thing we will discuss practically. But at least these information we should know while before moving to the practical examples. Okay. All right. So let's see one by one all these things. The first thing is, in real world forms, inputs are not independent because many fields are logically related. And this is a very factual thing, that yes, when you are designing the actual form, suppose you are creating any examination form, there also you can see fields are not completely independent. For example, if we are storing the information like city, state, country, pin code, so these have some logical dependency, right? These all details belong from a same category, that is address category. And that is why we can say that in real world form, inputs are not independent, many fields are logically related. Okay. Then in that situation, if you are not using ngModelGroup, then without ngModelGroup, all form values are stored at the same level. Okay. In that situation, all form values are stored at the same level, making the form data flat and unorganized. In that situation, you will get the flat data and unorganized data, and that is why we use ngModelGroup. Clear? Second point says, if you have a flat structure, then a flat structure become hard to read. If you have flat structure data, then it is very hard to read, manage and debug also, because by the time the forms will grow, right, in that situation it is really very difficult to read the data, to manage the data, and also to debug the data. Here, on the other hand, ngModelGroup allows developer to group these correlated fields together and improve the form structure as well as clarity. So I think with these liners, these pointers, it is clear like why do we use ngModel in order to create the form. Okay. Now see other benefits also, like it helps create nested data object which better represent the real world data models. So we just took the example of examination form, where if we have the data in a categorized way like city, state, zip number or pin code, then you can assume that it is actually representing the real world data model, not the hypothetical, right? So that is why we are saying that it helps create a nested data object which better represent real world data model. Next we have fifth point that shows grouping make it easier to send structured data to backend APIs. And obviously, like after creating the form, we will capture some information from the user, and that information we will later on forward to the APIs, right? So in that case, grouping makes it easier to send structured data to backend API, which usually expect nested objects. Okay, fine. Next we have 6th point, ngModelGroup enables section wise validation. Yes, this is very important term. If you want to enable the section wise validation, then in that case you will go for the ngModelGroup, because such as validating the entire address or profile section at once. So if you want to validate the entire form profile at once, then in that case you will use the ngModelGroup. Then we have 7th point, without grouping, validation logic must be applied individually to each control, which is very repetitive process. Yes, if you are not using the ngModelGroup, then in that case you are supposed to write everything individually for each fields, and which is very repetitive process. Suppose we have hundreds of fields in a form or 50 of fields in a form, then for each field you have to write the logic of validation again and again. But if you are using this ngModelGroup, then it will allow you to write and validate entire group or column in one go. Okay. In the similar way, it also allows us the section level styling. So if you want to apply some styling, so you can use a ngModelGroup, which will allow us to do the section level styling, such as highlighting an entire group when it is invalid. Next we have ngModelGroup improves maintainability. Yes, if everything is structured and categorized in a proper format, then you can say that yes, ngModelGroup improves the maintainability by keeping the related controls together. So in a larger form, in a complex form, when we have all the category or correlated things together, then it can improve the maintainability. We have 10th point, it makes complex form easier to understand for both developers and learners. Yes, so if the things are properly categorized, then you can say that it is very easy for developers as well as learners to understand and to use the forms. Then we have next point, that is 11th point. It tells us grouping supports scalability. Yes, if you want to build a scalable product, then you should go for this ngModelGroup, because it provides grouping, and grouping supports scalability by allowing new fields to be added to the section without restructuring the whole form. So if you want to, let's say as per the requirement later you want to add a new field, then in that case, if it is grouped properly, you can do it in a very easy way directly to the section without restructuring the whole form. Then we have next point, that is it provides a clear separation of concerns within a single form. Okay, so it basically provides a clear separation of concerns without a single form. Last we have 13 point, that tells ngModelGroup help align the UI structure with the data. Yes, that is also true. If you want to align your UI structure with a proper data structure that is used in your application, then you will go for the ngModelGroup. So overall, I think with these explanation, this is clear, like why do we use ngModelGroup, how it is beneficial for the developers as well as for the learners, what all things are provided here. So main thing you can say that it helps us to send the data to API in a nested structure format. It helps us to do a proper validation for the group, because if you are not using it, then you are supposed to do it individually for each field. But if you are using the grouping, then you are not supposed to do it for individual fields. Okay. Similarly for styling, if you want to apply styles, then if it is grouped together, you can do the styling in a proper way. But if it is not grouped together, then you are supposed to do it manually. Okay, so I think now this session is clear to all of you. In the next session we will discuss few more things. So yeah, thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.